Alright. Section 5, Application Review Information, A Criteria. U.S. Department of Labor Employment Training Administration Notice Availability Funds with the Funding Opportunity Announcement Apprenticeship Building America Grant Program Announcement Initial Funding Opportunity FOA ETA 2206 Kellogg Federal Domestic Assistance Number 17285 Key Days Closing Date Recipient Application Announcement April 25th, 2022. Must receive application no later than 11:59 Eastern Time. Submit application response solicitation through Grants.gov through the complete application submission information, including online application instructions. Please refer to Section 4. Alright, and we're on page 52, so Section 5, Application Review Information Criteria. We have instituted a procedure for assisting with technical merit application, providing an objective review of the applications as if the understanding standard against for your application will be judged. The evaluation criteria is based on information required in an application described in Section 4B2 of the project budget with the 4B3 project narrative. Reviewers will award points based on evaluation criteria described below. Section 4B3 project narrative funding opportunity announcement have several section headers. 4B3A statement of need. Each of the section headers project narrative may include one of the most criteria. Each criterion includes one or more rating factors which provide detailed specification, content, quality, response of the criteria. Each of the rating factors has specific point values assigned. Point values are number of points possible for the application to earn the rating factor. Criterion points maximum. Statement of need. Section 4B3 statement of need 10 points. Expected outcomes and outputs and outcomes. Section 4B3 expected output and outcomes and outputs 20%. 20 total. Project design. Section 4B3C project design 28 total. 4 organizational administrative official capacity. Section 4B3D organizational administrative official capacity 10 points. Past performance pragmatic capability. Section 4B3 past performance pragmatic capability. 6 budget and budget narrative. Section 4B2 project budget 8 total 100. Section 4B3 project narrative provides detailed explanation information. Application must include comprehensive work plan, whole period performance, feasible, realistic dates. Reviewers will rate each rating factor based on how fully the application responds. For each rating factor under each of the criteria, panelists will determine whether the applicant thoroughly meets the material, partially meets, or fails to meet the rating factor unless otherwise noted with the Section 4B3 rating based on definitions below. The standard rating definition and the standard calculation points. Thoroughly meets. The application thoroughly responds with the rating factor, fully convincingly satisfies all the stated specification, full points. Partially, the application responds incompletely to the rating factor. The application convincingly satisfies some of, but not all, the stated specifications, half points. Fails to meet. The application does not respond with the rating factor. If the application does not respond with the rating factor, does not convincingly satisfy any of the stated specifications, 0 points. In order to receive the maximum points of each rating factor, application must provide the respondent with the requirements fully. The commitment to perform prescribed activities. In other words, the application must describe why the proposal is best strategy, how they will implement, rather than the strategy contains elements of conforming to the requirements of the federal opportunity announcement, federal funding opportunity announcement. B. Review selection process. Merit review selection process. Technical merit review panel will carefully evaluate applications against selection criteria to determine the merit application. The criteria based on policy goals, priorities, emphasis set forth in the federal opportunity announcement. Up to 100 points may be awarded to applicant depending on the quality of the response provided. The final score, which may include the mathematical normalization review panels, will serve as the primary basis of selection applications for funding. Panel result adversity of the nature of the not binding of the grantor officer. The grantor officer reserve the right to make selections based solely on the final score to take into consideration all the relevant factors when applicable. Such factors may include geographical distribution, fund distribution among the granted categories, fund and set aside, and other relevant factors. Grant officer may consider any information that comes their attention. Government may elect to award grantors with or without discussion with the applicant. Should the grantor be awarded without discussion, the award will be based on the applicant's signature of the Stand Form 424, including electronic signature e-authentication. Grants.gov constitute the binding officer of the applicant. Risk review process. Prior to making an award, the Employment Training Administration will review the information available to various sources, including its own record with the Office of Management, Budget, Design, Repository, Government-wide eligibility, qualification, financial integrity, information, federal award, performance, and the integrity of the information system. Dun Bradstreet, do not pay additional. Employment Training Administration will comply with the requirement of Title II, CFR Part 185, Codified Title II, CFR Part 2998, Non-Procurement Department, Suspension Risk Evaluation, incorporated results of the evaluation applicants eligibility application, screening of the quality of the applicant with a merit review. Employment Training Administration determines when the award will be made. Special conditions that correspond with the degree of the risk assessed may be applied to the award. Criteria to be evaluated include the following: financial stability, quality management systems, ability to meet the management standards prescribed in uniform grant, guidance, history, performance, applicants, record, and managing award, comparative agreements, procurement awards, prior recipients such for federal awards include timeliness and compliance with the applicable reporting requirements, if the applicable, the extent with which previously awarded amounts will be expended prior to the future awards. 4. Reports, finding, and audits for the performed reports, finding from audits performed in Subpart F audit requirements, uniform grant guidance reports, findings on the other available audits, monitoring reports containing findings, issue, non-compliance of question, cost, applicability of effective to implement statutory, regulatory, and other requirements imposed on the recipient. No, as part of the Employment Training Administrative Risk Review process, the grant officer will determine the following: if the applicant had the restrictions pending with the Employment Training Administration grant due to the adverse and monitoring findings, if the application received the high-risk determination in accordance with the TEGL 2315, depending on the severity of the findings, whether the findings were resolved with the grantor officer may and the discretion to elect not to fund the applicant with a granted award, regardless of the applicant's score of the completion. All applicants required to submit the following information attachment for the application, suggested template below. Either Employment Training Administration says the applicant financial system. The information will be taken into account with the component of the Employment Training Administration risk review process. Applicants may use the suggested template and answer for the questions in separate with the attachment. Unlike with the organization will be able to manage federal grant without the following system process in place. Applicants may are expected to have these in place before applying for the grant of the Employment Training Administration. U.S. Department of Labor Employment Training and Administration Funding Opportunity Announcement Financial System Risk Assessment Section 8 Purpose. Financial responsibility grantees must search for the grantor properly discharge the public trust accompanied with authority to expend public funds adequate. The administrative financial system, including the accounting system, should meet the following criteria contained in Title 2 CFR 200 and Title 2 CFR 2900. Accounting records should provide information needed to adequately identify the recipient funds under each of the granted award expenditure funds of each of the grant. 3. An entry of the account with the record should refer to the subsidiary records of the documentation support entry, which could be readily located. The accounting system should provide accurate and current financial reporting information. Accounting system should be integrated with adequate system and internal control, safeguard funding for the access, cover, check accuracy of the reliability of the accounting data, promote operational efficiency, encourage adherence to the prescribed management policies. Section B, general, complete the following items. When was the organization finally incorporated? B, the principal office, the titles, employer identification number, number of the employees, full-time, part-time, if the organization institution affiliated with any of the organization, yes or no. If yes, please provide the nature of the company for the profit, the non-profit, the LLC, if it provides services for the product of the organization in relation to this grant. Total sales revenues in most recent accounts period, 12 months. Section C, accounting systems. How has the government agency rendered the official written opinion concerning the adequacy of the accounting system, the collection, identification, and allocation costs under federal contracts and grants, yes or no? Is yes, provide the name and address, agency performing the review, attach a copy of the latest review, and then subsequent corresponding clearance document. A note if the review occurred within the past 3 years. Omit question 2 through 8, section D. Which of the following best state with the best describe the accounting system? State administrator of the internally developed the web base. Does the accounting system identify the recipient expenditure of the program funds supplementing for each contract grant? Yes or no? It's not sure. It does not account system provide with the recording expenditure for the granted contract with the component project with the budget cost category shown approved budget? Yes or no? Not sure. Are the time distribution records maintained for the employee with his or her ethics specifically identified with the particular cost subjected? Yes or no? Not sure. Is the organization process overhead rate that does not account with the system provide the segregation of the direct indirect expense for the yes or no? Or not sure. If the organization will approve of the indirect cost rate with the cost allocation plan? If so, who approved it? Federal cognizant agency pass through entity where the effective date? Yes or not sure. Does the accounting and financial system include budgetary controls that preclude incurring obligation excess for the total funds available to grant, with the total funds available to budget costs category personal and travel? The yes or no? Or not sure. Does the organizational institution internal control of the structure would provide reasonable assurance of the grant funds and asset systems as a safeguard? Yes or no? Not sure. Section D, financial stability. Is the legal matter ongoing financial concern with the impact of the organizational ability to manage the administrative of the grant? Yes or no? Yes, please explain briefly. Section E, financial statement. Did an independent certified public accountant ever examine the financial statement? Yes or no? Independent certified public accountant review the perform. Please attachment copy of the latest response report. Any management letters issued and closed the not applicable. If the individual certified public accountant was engaged to perform a review and no report was issued, please provide the details and explanation below. Section F, additional information. Use space for additional information. Indicate section item numbers if the continuation. 6. Award administration information.